Hi, Australia. It's us again. Stop wasting your wine. Sorry about the whole yellowtail thing. We weren't talking smack about Australian wines. We were just talking smack about yellowtail. But you know what? To say we're sorry, we're going to devote this whole month to Australian wines, hoping to find some real gems. Let's do it. Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast dedicated to helping you discover great wines with great value for every occasion. I am Joel, and congrats again on finding the best damn wine show out there. As always, I am joined, well done, by Colin and Aaron. Hey, listen, it is our first week of our Australian Wine Challenge, where we're going to go out there and we're going to try to find the best Australian wine that's widely available to us here in the States. To make sure, we're doing it justice, we were very, very particular in our choices, and we had a lot of help from the Stop Wasting Your Wine community because, boy, when we tried some yellowtail a couple of weeks back, did we hear all about how great the wine is in Australia. And you should try this and this and this, which we love. But I think most guys of our selections came from that feedback, yeah?
Yeah, I think all three,
actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, this is, I think, the first time where each one of our selections was heavily influenced by the Stop Wasting Your Wine community. So that's really cool to see, and awesome that we have a community big enough to even give us enough recommendations. So we are just so appreciative for your feedback and your input. We love to hear from you guys. So this is kind of a homage to you.
Yeah, I think especially when we are drinking wines from a region that maybe we just do not know that much about, or don't know as much about as we'd like to know. Because, man, when we reviewed that yellowtail, knowing that we were purposefully reviewing a bad wine, the just sheer amount of rage that erupted from that side of the planet. I feel like, what are you doing? People were reposting Colin's soapbox being like, we got to get together, Australia. Look at these guys. They hate our wine.
Yeah, which, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, that was one of the worst wines I think we maybe have ever had. It was really bad.
For sure.
And let's not forget the wine we tried to replace it with, the Penfolds. Not much better, but excited for this episode because we have a little redemption episode as well.
Dual purpose show today. Yeah.
Yeah, really
absolutely.
cool.
I feel like we should point out, too, it was never a thing about Australia. It was a thing about crappy, widely available wine. That one just happened to be from Australia.
Well, and I think
we picked crappy wine from all over the world.
Yeah, but Colin, that's why today's exciting, because we got a recommendation from our good friend Adam.
Yeah, friend of the pod, Adam Wolf of course, Saffron Fields, loved their wine, Wine About Music. So yeah, he was pretty quick to say, hey, we should really check this one out. So let's get moving into this. Let's not bury the lead anymore here. Colin, tell everybody what we're drinking today.
Sure. So this is the Penfolds Max's Cabernet Sauvignon from South Australia. This is 100% Cabernet Sauvignon. This is the 2022 vintage, coming in at around 14.5% ABV, and you can pick this one up from about $18 to $22.
Okay, we're going back up a little bit here, alcohol percentage wise. Excited about that. 100% Cabernet. Can I tell you guys something? So we're back in challenge mode here. I kind of had a feeling, I had a thought that you guys were both going to go 100% Shiraz, and I said, I don't want to do that. I want to mix it up a little bit here. I want to show the diversity of Australian wines. And that's why I wanted to kick us off with this Cabernet Sauvignon. A bold swing.
No,
but
I love
feeling
it.
All right.
I was looking for a non-Shiraz, but like a lot of the listeners in our comments have said, the Australian wine scene in America is pretty limited. There wasn't a lot of non-Shiraz wine out there. Like, I was shocked by how little other options there were. So the fact you were able to find one that's 100% cab, I think is a good start, because it really does separate yourself from the pack immediately, at least as far as expectations. Aaron and I are head to head. This, is going to be a little bit different. So smart move.
Yeah. I mean, that was the hope when we first discovered that Penfolds was doing kind of its more value-centric wines, right? You're like, okay, well, they have the reach to really get out there. And so we were all able to find, I think Max has had like a pure Shiraz, pure Cab Sauv, part Cab Sauv, part Shiraz. So it's like they're able to do all these things because of their reach. We got a bunch of cool recommendations for Chardonnay and a few other wines, but not ones that I can get and you can get.
Yeah,
right?
that's
So,
right.
and that's a big part of the show. It's like, what can we recommend that almost everyone can find around? And it's not that.
Yep. 100%. Definitely. That's part of the challenge. And another reason why Australia, we want to try everything you've got, but we're working with what the distributors can get over here, so
That's right.
a little limited, but again, super excited for the 3 that we have chosen for this month. And very excited. I'm hoping that this one delivers here. So let's get into it. Let's give it a first sip. I just want to hear one word from everybody on what we're thinking with this Penfolds Max's Cabernet Sauvignon. Colin.
I'm going to say Cabernet.
You are
okay. Very, very good.
Oh, sir.
I'll explain why in a minute. That doesn't sound too out there or creative, but I have a reason for it.
All right. I'm here for it. Aaron.
I'm going to say
Sauvignon.
Rich. Yeah. See what I got. Boom. The Joel wine. Okay. No, I'm going to say rich.
I'm going to say inviting.
Ooh.
I think that's the word that I'm going to say.
I love that.
Yeah. A couple reasons why on that one as well. But I like that. Cabernet, rich, inviting. Excited to see how this develops. Yeah. Those are not scary words right there, and words that I want associated with my wine. All right, so let's expand on that a little bit, guys, by getting into it a little bit. Let's give it a spin, and tell me what you're getting on the nose. Colin, I'll start with you again, buddy.
Sure. Yeah, I said Cabernet because this smells as traditional Cabernet as I think you get. Honestly, like it is straight down the path of what you would expect and honestly hope a nice Cabernet would smell like. It's got all of those really nice dark fruits. You can tell this wine has seen a little bit of oak, and that oak influence is coming through for sure. It just really smells like what I was hoping and expecting a Cabernet to smell like, and I hope that transfers on the palate as well.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the past few Cab Sauvs we've had have been like 60% Cab Sauv and then like 20% Merlot or Malbec or something in there that has kind of muffled that Cab scent. And this is just like, boom. Like you could probably blind smell this wine and be like, that's Cabernet.
So, and let's talk about what I'll say the things. I agree with what you're saying. To me, that's some really nice red fruit that's really prevalent up there. That's that little bit, some of those spices, but again, my word was inviting. And I think part of the reason is because that first sip, like it was not aggressive in any way. Nothing, was punching me in the face anywhere. It was just a really nice, very fruit forward, but then still had a nice, kind of that oaky influence going throughout it, and definitely getting that on the nose here. Both of those kind of elements, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I would say the fruit for me anyways, a little bit darker, We could be experiencing that differently, but it's more like plum and blackberry and maybe even a little bit of dark cherry in there. And then the one note I'm really picking up on is like there's like this earthy coffee tone to it underneath.
For sure.
Damn you.
Yeah.
Damn you.
Aaron, if you want to say that, I'll let you say that first and then pretend like I didn't say that. So go. Aaron?
Well, that's why I said rich. I love it because I'm bummed I didn't get to say it first, but I feel vindicated because that's why I said rich, because I was getting kind of that coffee, cocoa, kind of like, soil richness in there.
Mm-hmm.
That
oh my God, coffee, cocoa, soil richness. That's such a good call, Aaron. I can't believe that you got that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
Beautiful. Teamwork. Look at us professionals.
We all agree with each other completely.
I agree with what you guys are saying, but I gotta go back. I know Like I have just a nice little cherry situation peeking out of here too, but like a vibrant, fresh cherry.
Yeah, it's fresh, the fruit for sure. It's definitely not, even at 14.5%, you might think everything would smell a little bit heavier, but it does not.
All right, let's drink this thing. I'm super excited. Nice. All right, Colin, what are you getting?
I think we're getting a lot of what we were getting on the nose. I think, again, pretty straightforward, a lot of the Cabernet flavors you would expect. I think the fruit is really nice on this. I think it's a very fruit forward Cabernet. I think those darker fruits are coming through, but Joel, like you said, it's fresh. It's all very fresh fruit. Yeah. It's not jammy or cooked or anything like that. It's really nice, vibrant. There's a nice bit of acidity here too. I think the structure is really Cabernet as well. It's all kind of turned up to, I would say, medium plus at least, if not high.
Say that again. What do you think is medium plus high?
Kind of everything. Just their structural components in general, I think are medium plus high.
Except for tannin.
No, I would say if you hunt for the tannin, if you take a second to let the tannin sink in, it is really there. A quick sip, you kind of miss it. It's definitely not as intense, but it's there if you look for it.
Really got it.
It's funny because I'm sitting over here kind of thinking a little bit shocked by. I was going to put it in a medium category, like staunchly in a medium, and I was a little bit surprised by how medium it was, and not, in my head I was kind of, I think, expecting it to be a little bit bolder, and I'm pleasantly, I'll say, surprised that I think it's just very, very approachable, and to me, like a little easier than I was expecting.
Yeah, I'll say the flavor is medium, right? I think the flavor intensity is medium. There's nothing too intense or bold about the flavor, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. It's just not coming across like a punch in the face kind of cab. But I think the structure is all still like the acid is really making my mouth water. You can really feel
definitely kicking. Yeah.
The tannin is nice, and the tannin's not, like really nice and enjoyable. It just hugs the gums. It's not itchy or scratchy or anything like that.
Definitely.
So like I think structurally it's medium plus, but flavor wise I think you're right. It's not terribly expressive, probably in that medium range.
Yeah, and the last thing that I'll say too on this one is I really am enjoying the amount of oak that this is presenting as well, and all of those kind of fun things, because I think this is a really good example of, we've talked a lot about using it as a style choice and to get these benefits, but be careful on X, Y, and Z. Too much of this and that could take away from the experience. It's really nicely balanced. It's really well integrated, I think, into this flavor profile here. So, it's there, it's nice, it's adding. When I think about it, it's there, but when I take a step back, it's just all together a really nice sip, I think.
No, I agree. The oak and the earth play really well with the fruit, and it makes for a really nice flavor-wise balanced sip.
Agreed. All right, well, let's put this thing to the side for a second here too, because this is another one here where I was cognizant on this one too. I opened this one about 30 minutes before we got together. I've been letting it breathe. I think it's been really opening up, and I think it might continue to do so. So let's put this aside for a second, and let's do some wine drops. All right, so like I said before, guys, this we're going, might seem strange to somebody, right? We're doing a whole Australia month, and we're kicking it off with a Cabernet Sauvignon. But I think a lot of people will kind of do this thing where they equate so staunchly a region or a country to a type of grape, and then when they're walking through the wine aisle, they kind of can't get away from that. So maybe Australia is a good example. You're walking through, you've had an Australian Shiraz, you kind of know what to expect there. It's rich, it's plush, it's got these different notes that you really, really strongly associate. So you see an Australian cab, and you might think, okay, this is just going to be Australia, all these Australian notes that I assume in a Cabernet style, a Cabernet flavored Shiraz, if you will. So, I think that's a very common kind of thing that everybody can kind of, get blinded into and kind of think that that's going to be the case.
Yeah, for sure. And then I think the surprise really is when you get it home and take a sip. Sure, a lot of the fruit flavors are going to be the same as Cabernet and Zinfandel can share some of those fruit flavors, but the structure and how the wine feels and really what you're getting at the end of the day is going to be completely different. It's going to be a little bit more firm, maybe a little bit less intense. So, definitely a surprise from, I would say, what most people expect.
For sure.
I mean, I feel like this has been like a version of the takeaway that we have been giving for 3 years now, which is just, a lot of times people often think of the country first and the grape second. They're like, I want to get a wine from France. I want to get a wine from Italy because I like French wines, right? And in a lot of cases, though, it's the grape is the thing that you're actually searching for. The experience that you had was about that grape. And, even though we have Cabernet and Shiraz, and they're both come in the same label, they get blended, they're gonna act differently. Even if they're in the same vineyard, in the same country, they're both in Australia, like they're going to have very different profiles.
Very different profiles, and for good reason, right? That Shiraz is going to naturally bring that weightiness to it. You're going to get the more ripe fruit and that broad texture that kind of like takes over your mouth, takes over your palate. Cabernet doesn't naturally do that. It brings that little kind of drying feeling with those tannins that we were talking about before too, that kind of keep the wine feeling a little bit more serious, maybe a little more aggressive would be a word you might want to say, than that kind of soft, plushy feeling of a Shiraz.
And we talk about location and where the grapes are grown in terroir quite a bit on the show because it is something that matters a lot. And as we mentioned, this wine is made in the south of Australia. And what that region brings you is a ton of sunshine, right? It's warm down there. So it gives the cab the opportunity to get nice and ripe. So you're still getting a lot of those expected darker Cabernet fruits, black currant, which I don't think any of us has ever tasted, but people continue to tell us it's in there, blackberry, and then maybe a little mint, which I think is a super interesting call because I was toying with calling this out earlier, but I wasn't sure. So now that we've kind of talked about it, I'm really looking forward to going back and getting my nose and another sip in. So even though that sunshine allows it to get nice and ripe, it never really melts into that intense style that people often associate with Australian Shiraz.
Yeah, and I think that's the big buying takeaway for this episode, right? Like, again, Australia, we're sorry about Yellowtail. And Yellowtail has this, like...
Well, really, they should be sorry about Yellowtail. We should be sorry.
Who did that to us?
Yeah, there is a little give and take in this one, Australia.
Exactly, 100%. And I think a lot of people associate Australian wine with Yellowtail because it is so prominent over here. And what we have to do is we have to separate what we're actually looking for. So, if you find a Shiraz that you like from Australia, you should be looking at, where it was and who made it and how it was made, not necessarily just grab every Australian wine. Just because you like the Australian Shiraz that you found doesn't mean you're going to like the Australian Cabernet. Like, it's still a very large area. They're going to do their own thing, and you have to think about what you're actually looking for. One can be built around richness, and the other one can be built around firmness, but they're just two completely different things.
Yeah, and this should... I want to talk to the wine buyer here directly for 1 second. This should empower you when you're walking through the aisles. This shouldn't make it scarier. This shouldn't make you feel, intimidated by maybe you've had this thought process before. Like, it's okay. We've all been there. You were talking about, I like French wine and I drink French wine. I think that's okay. Like, I think that's a great way. Find the region that you like, drink the shit out of it, find the next one, find the differences. Like, that's a great way to be going through it. But let the takeaway from this too just be empowering. Just know when you're walking through, there are differences and there are little nuances even within a region, even within a country. If you want something broad and fruit different, if you want something broad and fruit driven, keep looking at Shiraz. If you want that dark fruit with more grip and definition, maybe consider a cab. There's lots of options out there.
And I think this bottle is a useful example of that, right? Like, I don't think anybody would confuse this with a Shiraz. Like, it's just, this bottle's not trying to be Shiraz. And, yeah, that's right. 100%. It's really just trying to show you what Cabernet from South Australia can be. And I think that that's awesome.
I love it. You know what else I love? I feel like this whole conversation, we could have this, we could insert different country, different grapes.
Yep.
All around the world.
Yep.
and have the same conversation. This is not a referendum on Shiraz or Cabernet or Australia. It's kind of just like our PSA of look between the lines, and don't jump to a correlation between a place and a grape and a style. Explore it all. Like Ashwin would say, there's 10,000 grapes out there. Experience them all. Let's see what they can do. So
yeah, a great callback, because I was going to say a lot of the times, a region will be famous for a grape, but honestly, the best value comes from the grape not famous from the region. So
100%.
those are the ones that you want to be looking for.
Love it. Wonderful discussion, guys. So nice. I think it's wow. Even a competitive episode, we're taking a moment to do a little learning ourselves, broadening some thoughts, some minds, and hopefully maybe yours too, listener, think about wine in a different way. But I think at this point it's time to go ahead and roll right into the review. Let's do it. All right, as a reminder, here on the Stop Wasting Your Wine podcast, we do not believe in numbers when it comes to talking about our wines and rating our wines. We believe it's more about the experience, who you want to be hanging out with when you're drinking that wine. So our must-shares are wines that are exceptionally good bottles of wine that have something extra special that deserve to be shared. Our solid pours are really good wines with really good value. Our casual sippers are enjoyable, but not necessarily memorable. And the wines that are overvalued, low quality, or undrinkable are a waste of your wine. And of course, we all have 3 spots in our coveted wine fridge for our 3 favorite wines of the year. All right, guys, really anxious to hear what you think about this one. Week 1 of 3, a very competitive match to find the best Australian wine, at least that we can get our hands on here, in both New York and Orlando. So since this is my pick, I will reserve the right to go last, and I will go ahead and start with Aaron.
Yeah, I think we need to copyright this. We need to market it. We have discovered that there is a magic thing that happens when a wine costs $17 or more. Like, that is the very strange drop-off point in wine pricing that we can share with you if you become a subscriber to our show. But no, we've seen it over and over and over again that when we're under that price point, it gets real scary down there. And we saw that with the Penfolds Canunga Hill value offer. It had like kind of the pieces were there, but the pieces weren't attached. Like there were a couple nice puzzles, but there were 3 different puzzles all over the box. It was bad.
That was missing some pieces.
Right. It was just missing pieces.
Cohesion.
But it wasn't as bad as the Yellowtail, but it still wasn't good. And this, I think, is a good example of what you want to find in a value wine. When you want to find a quick, inexpensive, open it up, drink it with a friend. I think this is a really good example of that. It's inviting, it's easy, there's nothing too extreme about it. There's a lot of really familiar and accepting flavors and notes. Structurally, it's very, very easy. There's nothing that's going to scare anyone off. And it's just nice. So I think this is a really solid pour. I think for $17, like, this is just a great bottle to grab and have and keep it as a wine that you just want to drink on a Tuesday or just pull out with friends. I think absolute great example of a solid pour wine.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Colin, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, I want to go back to that minty note that we covered in the learning segment, because I totally think that's in there. And it shows up for me on the finish, and it's more so like the after sip. And it doesn't stick around too long, but it's actually really enjoyable, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I think we have to say thank you to Adam for this recommendation. Yeah. Joel, I'm glad you went with this one, because this is a fantastic bottle of wine for, it cost me $22. So Aaron, you said 17. I don't know if we're paying some sort of Florida tax down here, but right. I think the value is there at $22. I think the only thing it's maybe missing to keep it out of the must share category is it's, and we talked about this as a positive, and it's not necessarily negative, but there's not a lot of intensity of flavor. There's a lot of really nice things going on in there, and I'm enjoying all of the flavors, but it is missing a little bit of that intensity to bring it into the musher. But for me, this is about as solid of a pour as a solid pour gets. This is a great wine. This is at $22. Absolutely one that you can go out there and try and enjoy, and I think you'd be happy with. Like Aaron said, all the flavors are great. There's nothing in there sticking out that's not enjoyable, and I'm glad we went back to Penfolds, because Penfolds has a great reputation. We tried their entry level, their very bottom entry level, and it just wasn't that good. So to come back and really be enjoying a wine from them is exciting for me. But absolute solid pour, something you should go out and try.
Yeah, I won't belabor this one. I think we're all on the same page. I want to remind everybody, solid pour is a really good wine with really good value. That's exactly what this is. This is really good. This is very enjoyable. Yeah. Like, I'm going to go get some more of these for sure. This is a solid pour. Like you said too, Aaron, like this might be the best shining example of a solid pour that we've had on this show, at least for a very long time, because it's just good. You know, like, it's just good. It's priced right. It's enjoyable. I don't even know what else to say other than it's just really good and really nice, and I'm enjoying drinking this. So totally agree, solid pour, and happy to be putting that there. And Penfolds Redemption, baby. I mean,
100%.
And this is you know, step up. I know we're barely even scratching the portfolio here.
Yeah, for sure.
So now I'm definitely intrigued in even climbing the ladder maybe a little bit more and seeing what else they're offering, because this is really nice.
Penfolds makes some of the most sought after wines in the entire world. So the fact that, you know, this is good is not surprising. I'm just glad it's good because the last one was so not good.
All right. It's official. We're going to go deep into the Penfolds portfolio. Let's make it happen. Hey, before we go, you guys want to do a quick game?
I actually have something I was thinking about after today, and I would love to try it out.
Please.
Hit me.
I think this could be a Pinot or Chardonnay question that we should revisit every few months after we've experienced more wines.
Okay.
Pinot or Chardonnay, there are enough quality wines under that $17 mark that it's worth looking for good wines down there, or is it's such a diamond in the rough that we should be hanging out above that line? Chardonnay, let's keep digging in there. Let's keep looking for those diamonds in the rough. Pinot, we know it's the danger zone. Let's stay above 17 moving forward.
Yeah, I'm going to say Chardonnay. I think there's always going to be some diamonds. I think you just have to know where to look. And I think part of our journey is trying to learn where to look. You know, we've had a lot of misses under that price point, but some big hits too, you know, a lot of misses, mostly misses, I would say. But when you do find it, it is ultra exciting to find like that one awesome bottle that you can go back to for under $17. So I say keep exploring.
All right.
I'm going to say Pinot on this one for the exact same, like exactly what you said, but Pinot. I think, you know, we're doing this for the pod, right? If I were just like, you know, spending my money and trying to find good wine, I would honestly say, don't waste your time. Like, go right to the sweet spot, stay there. Because we've had, like you were saying, like we've had a lot more misses than hits below that line. And yes, there are one or two that come to mind, but not enough to where I would say you should go explore it. Aaron, what do you think?
I think I have a mix of both of you right now. I say Pinot to the random dart tossing, hoping we find a good one, right? Because there's so many bad ones below 17. But we know that the Eagle Gal was like 15 at the time, and that was great, the Côte de Rhône. And we know that the Castel Garcia was like $8, and that's such like a tasty like porch pounder of a wine. But those were both like recommendations. Like we knew about the Eagle Gal before we drank it. You had both like had it before, and the Castel Garcia came to us as a recommendation from someone being like, this is good, check it out. So I think I am not opposed to sub $17 wines, but I am a Pinot in just like there's plenty of good ones down there. Like I'm starting to feel pretty negative about that mindset.
Yeah, I think you'd be missing out on a lot of the lesser known regions and what they're able to provide if you're not willing to spend a little bit less money. So I would agree.
I'm always willing to spend less money.
Yeah, sure. But like my point is that like if you're looking for something like a Shiraz from Australia, probably good to stay above $17. But if you're looking from, a new grape from an unknown region in Italy, well, that bottle might only cost you $12, but might be phenomenal. So, I'd hate to stop exploring just because of price.
I think Joel
cost you
used
$12 here in the States or in that town in Italy? Because that's
here in the States.
like, yeah, you think so? All right.
Yeah, I bet you could find some good wine if you go to like a wine shop. This is not.
Yeah.
This is not advice for the grocery store. Don't get me wrong, because they're totally a Pinot. But I think
we gotta call that out.
For sure, 100%. I think if you're going to the right spot in a place that really knows its wine, I think you'd find some great bottles for under 17.
Yeah, well, I think that's the knowledge is power, right? Like you know what you're looking for. You have to know, like, oh, this is a lesser known grape that has less demand from a region that's really trying to break through, and therefore, Cristão Garcia and a lot of those Vino Verde brands are in that $6 to $10 range because that's the price. And then that, and you're like, this is a safe buy. Versus, I think the Shiraz example is excellent. It's just like there's so much Australian Shiraz, like that's what they're doing to get ahead of each other.
Yeah,
just
definitely nothing under 10. Anything under 15 to 17 is gonna be still a dart throw. But
thought provoking. I like that one.
Indeed. Yeah, it's a great question. Great question. Good combo.
Yes, very good. Listen, on that note, I think we've had a lot of fun here.
Great time.
Kicked off a new fun challenge, finding the best Australian wine.
Yeah,
thank you.
Great way to start the challenge off. I mean, this has been probably the best first bottle I think we've had on any challenge so far. So
for sure. Yeah, one of the least weird challenges, I would say too. So I do have that going for me.
That's fair.
And one more shout out to Adam for the tip off on this one. Definitely a good recommendation. But yeah, learned a lot too, and had some really good convos here. I'm excited for the next couple of weeks, guys. So great kickoff. Colin, if folks at home want to hang out with us, talk to us, share what they think about Australian wines, wine in general, the $17 threshold that we're putting out there, how can they reach out to us and hang out?
Yeah, the best place is Instagram. Honestly, that's where we hang out the most. That's where we do most of our interacting. You can check us out there at Stop Wasting Your Wine. If you'd like to come on the show, you can send us an email at cheers@stopwastingyourwine.com. And that's really it. Check us out on YouTube if you'd like to see our wonderful smiling faces every Tuesday.
Love. Shout out to Aaron for doing this one a little under the weather over there too, buddy. Feel better.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Good stuff. All right. Hey, listener, shout out to you guys for coming to hang out with us. Hope you had a good time. And we're looking forward to seeing you next week. And in the meantime, just remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.